Welcome back to the Career Edge, where we talk about how work actually works. I'm Leslie Ferry. Last episode, we reframed what intelligence actually means at work. Not what you know, but what you notice. Today, we move to the second multiplier of the performance loop. And I want to start with something that might make you slightly uncomfortable. You probably think you reflect on your work. Most professionals do. But what you're almost certainly doing, at least at most of the time, is replaying. And replay, it doesn't produce growth. Here's the difference. Replay asks, what happened? And then you run through the meeting in your head. You think about what you said. You feel good about parts of it. You wish you'd handled one moment differently. You move on. That feels productive. It feels thoughtful. But it's narrative. You're retelling the story from your own perspective, with yourself as the narrator. The context already is filtered through your assumptions. Reflection asks something completely different. What outcome was I actually trying to create? And did I achieve it? What did I assume would happen? And where was I wrong? How is my contribution likely interpreted by others in that room? And what would I have needed to see in the moment that I missed? Replay keeps you in memory. Reflection moves you into analysis. And analysis is what makes deliberate adjustment possible. Here's where most professionals are quietly fooling themselves and why good intentions aren't enough. Intelligent professionals trust their instincts. After an interaction, they think, I know how that went. But confidence is not analysis. In fact, and this is important, intelligence without structured reflection can actually reinforce blind spots. Because if you misinterpret what happened, your future adjustments will be misdirected. You'll change the wrong variable. You'll overcorrect something that wasn't the issue. You'll repeat the same pattern in a slightly different form. That's how growth stalls, even for capable, experienced people who genuinely care about getting better. Good intentions without structured reflection just produces more confident repetition. Real reflection has structure. There are three elements. One, outcome clarity. Not how did that go, but what was I specifically trying to create? Alignment, a decision, buy-in, clarity. And did I actually achieve it? Two, interpretation awareness. Not what did I say, but how was what I said likely received and by whom? And three, refinement design. Not I'll do better next time, but what is the one specific thing I'll test differently next time? That last one is critical, and it's where most professionals stop short. Vague intention. I'll communicate more clearly. Produces nothing. Specific experiment. I will state the outcome I'm looking for before presenting my reasoning. Produces data. And data is what compounds growth. For managers, reflection expands in scope. It's not just how did I perform? It has the same three elements, but the questions are different. One, on outcome clarity, not did my team deliver, but was I explicit about what success actually looks like? Or did I assume it was obvious? Two, interpretation awareness, not did I communicate clearly, but how was my direction likely interpreted by each person on my team? And where might it have landed differently than I intended? And three, refinement design. Not I need to be more clear, but what is the one specific thing I will change about how I set direction, delegate, or give feedback next time? And here's the insight that matters most for managers. Managers don't just reflect on behavior. They reflect on the environment they're creating because teams rarely repeat friction due to a lack of talent. They repeat friction because expectations, feedback timing, and ownership structures aren't being examined and adjusted. When the same problem keeps showing up on your team, that's not a personnel issue. That's a reflection gap. Think about the jazz musician from the last episode. After a performance, they're not just replaying the notes in their head. They're asking, where did I lose the room? Where did the energy shift? What did I assume about the audience that turned out to be wrong? That's structured reflection. That's the difference between a musician who gets better every performance and one who just keeps performing. The same distinction exists in your work. Experience without reflection just gives you more data points. Reflection turns those data points into insight. That's performance engineering. After your next significant interaction, don't just think about how it felt. Ask 3 questions. What outcome was I trying to create? And what evidence tells me whether I achieved it? How is my contribution likely interpreted by the people in that room? And what one specific thing will I test differently next time? Not I'll do better, but I will do this one specific thing differently. And you'll notice what changes. That's reflection as a multiplier. Not replay, not rumination, not self-criticism. Deliberate analysis that leads somewhere. Most professionals believe they reflect because they think about their day. But growth compounds when reflection becomes structural, not occasional. Intelligence expands what you notice. Reflection makes meaning of what you noticed. Remove reflection, and the loop breaks. Deepen reflection, and growth accelerates. Don't just replay your day. Analyze it. Intelligence times reflection times adjustment equals growth. Next episode, adjustment, and why the insight you just generated from reflection will never change your performance unless you understand what adjustment actually means. The performance loop is the foundation of Zandra, the career growth partner we've built at Bryce. If you want to experience what this looks like applied to your own work, try First Insight at myzandra.ai. It's free, takes less than 10 minutes, and there's no sign-up required. Zandra will guide you through a focused conversation that helps you see how your own loop is running, your strengths, your patterns, and where a small shift could make a real difference. There's a link in the description. And if this series added something to how you think about work, be sure to share it with someone else who will benefit too.